Hey, Saul here with another SAT Solve Live. Today I'll be going over the digital PSAT 8/9, as in 8th or ninth grade PSAT, official practice test 1 on the Bluebook app. I've never seen this test before. It'll be my first time ever solving this, so you'll get to see how I work through these questions when it's my first time seeing them. If you're lucky, you'll even get to see me make a mistake and see how I recover from that mistake. That said, there is a bit of a disclaimer. The PSATs, especially practice test 1, they were released quite a long time ago, and I'm sort of finally swinging around to it. So there is a pretty high chance that I've seen a number of these questions before. It's practice test 2 that I'm less likely to have seen any question before. But given the amount of material that's already out there that I've had to solve for my in-person classes, there is going to be a few questions that I'll kind of remember the answers to. But with that little disclaimer aside, I think you'll be able to. I'm hoping that this stream would be useful for you if you're studying for the PSAT. Just seeing my general approach, which is validated not just from this one video, but from all my videos that show how I actually solve the SAT. Okay, so I will be going over the reading writing section only. I will not be doing the math. I'm not very good at math. I used to be, but I'm pretty terrible now. So let's get that. Let's remove that expectation from me. And if you are, I have a couple tips for you. If you are, I can't speak right now. If you are watching this as a live stream, you're welcome to ask me any questions that you have in the chat. I will be checking the chat. I won't be generally answering your questions right away. I'll usually save them for the Q&A at the end of the module, but if it's like a really easy shout out, then I might say something. So don't be afraid to just shoot off a quick message in the middle of me solving something. Also, if you are watching this as a replay, as in not live, then I suggest looking at my video description down here, by the way. My video description to find the keyboard shortcuts for speeding up or slowing down or skipping chapters. It helps when you are watching something that is like longer than an hour to be able to just navigate YouTube through keyboard shortcuts. If you're watching this on your computer, if you're watching this on like a tablet or mobile device, there's not a lot of options except like those double taps and whatnot, which you probably already know about. Okay. So I'm going to get right into it. Let me actually set it up now. Here we go. I'm in the Bluebook app. I'm going into full-length practice, PSAT related, PSAT 8/9, and practice test 1. This is going to be scored on a scale of 720, I think, if that's correct. Yes, 720, right? 720, 760. Yes. So if I get a perfect score, I'll be getting a 720 out of 720. I do have a strategy that I think is kind of disproves a lot of the commonly known, the commonly understood strategies that are out there. So I won't really explain it verbally right now, but hopefully just from watching this video, you'll be able to see how my strategy differs from the usual tips and tricks that everyone talks about. Arturos Schomburg was dedicated to preserving books from people of African descent. He asked friends and colleagues, I forgot to zoom in, sorry. He asked friends and colleagues, depended on, yeah. My prediction was asked. It was not exactly a perfect prediction, but I was using my evidence from the text. 1885, controlled by the Southern Pacific Railroad, solidified its dominance or control. Okay. Dominance. I was not expecting that. It's my first time seeing that question. Unaware that Mr. Spring Fragrance. Okay, hang on. Mr. and Mrs. Spring Fragrance have come from China in 1912. The husband is tired, and although his eyes were engaged in scanning the pages of the newspaper, his ears could not help receiving the words which were brought to him, born to him, through the open window. So hearing. Okay, that is exactly what I predicted. Moving on. And then some people have speculated. I'll answer that question in a second. Hey, Bekzod. 2 helmets, attached horns. Belong to Vikings. Skeptical. Radiocarbon dates. And confirm. Not like redeem. What's the word? The V word. Vindicate. Justify the skepticism. Okay. Well, because of the before the Vikings, right? I was thinking of Vindicate. It took me forever to come up with Vindicate. Just to quickly answer, same rainbows. I already did do practice test 2 for PSAT 10. So now I'm doing PSAT 8-9. PSAT 8-9. I cannot speak today. Okay, keep going. Polly, a teenager, visiting her friend Fanny. Polly, in 1869-ish, is visiting her friend Fanny. Okay, got it. Fanny's friends did not interest Polly. She's afraid of them, older, wiser. They talked about things. Okay, she didn't find them interesting. Some of them rather shocked and puzzled her. Main purpose of the text is to depict her reaction to the people there. To portray. Oh my God, that's almost exactly. Almost exactly a perfect prediction. San Francisco is known for the murals. Okay, good. Murals, buildings, got it. Collection of murals, Balmy in Mission District is dense. Latino artists, 1970s, backwards in time. And then, since then, new ones. Living showcase of the artistic spirit. Is this main purpose? It is main purpose. It's to depict a particular feature of the city, okay, and it's changed over time as well. Describe, nope. Yes. Just double checking. Offer an overview, yes. History, yes. Importance, yes. Importance, yes. Importance is in the last sentence. Okay, there we go. I didn't really check A, C, and D. I just chose. I looked at D really briefly, but it wasn't matching my predictions, so I just looked at B. I didn't really look at A and C. 1801, a Blackfoot chief named Accomackee, Blackfoot. Okay, so America, Upper Missouri, got it. It's a map. We got a map. This map, okay, so we have a topic and then we have a significance. This work demonstrates a vast amount of knowledge, names of this and that, and then a second significance included details about the tribes. So one out of two details that illustrates the significance. It illustrates the significance. I guess C. Some reasons. Plural. That's awkward. I don't like that. Let me just double check. Reasons. As well as the first sketch. I mean, do those count as reasons? I guess it does. Sketch of the drainage network. But, I mean, it's all collapsed into one reason. So it's kind of poorly... Okay, but it's not D. It's not B. It's not A. So... I have a mild disagreement with that word reasons. I don't like the reasons because I thought demonstrates a vast amount of topographic knowledge. Singular is a single region, and the other two are just examples of that, or just support for that reason. It's kind of I think that's sloppily written. Yawn contagion occurs when I can't zoom right now. Okay, there we go. Yawn contagion occurs when one individual yawns in response to another. Okay, got it. I'm resisting yawning, by the way. You guys don't yawn. Studies of this behavior in primates have focused on populations in captivity. Captivity, got it. We want to show it in the wild, got it. Gelada monkeys. Ethiopia. Yawn contagion in males. Further reported. Okay, so they confirmed it happens in the wild. Also, there's two. So we can actually infer two different conclusions. Function of the first sentence. I completely lost track of the type of question this was, but yes. It's a general background on a phenomenon, general known phenomenon. Okay, and before we, yes. Yes, exactly, phenomenon. That is correct. Moving on. Dude, why is it so hard to zoom? Okay. The following text, Sport of the Gods, 1902. Joe and family members, New York City, got it. Enthusiasm, now they're excited to be in the city. He's excited to be in the city. Spruce clothes. Envy, where could they be going? Back home, there was nowhere to go except church or people's houses. He came from the country, now he's in the city. It's very exciting. Main purpose of the text is to illustrate his excitement. Illustrate his excitement. Illustrate reaction. Perfect. Exactly what I predicted. Moving on. I didn't really look at C and D. I briefly saw B because it was right next to A, but I didn't even look at C and D. Okay, because I got a perfect prediction. That's what happens. Next, Johanna Sperry, 1881. Heidi. Oh, I think I've seen this passage before. I have seen this passage before. 8-year-old are looking at some illustrated books. Wondering eyes, splendid pictures. Grandmama showing her. Screamed aloud, for there on the picture she saw a peaceful flock grazing on a green pasture. In the middle, a shepherd was standing. The setting sun was shedding a golden light. Devoured the scene. Main idea: Heidi is absorbed, excited and absorbed by this one scene in this book. Yes, that is B. Yeah, that's B. Some people think that was a negative reaction just because they assume that the word scream means scream because of something bad, but that is not, there's no evidence for that. The painter Maria Izquierdo played an important role. Never known. One reason for the lack of the underratedness is the popularity of her peers. Yes. Okay, main idea is that Maria Izquierdo is unknown because of everyone else's popularity. That's the main idea. Unknown. Where's unknown? Not well known. Yes. Oh, in the United States, I didn't really catch that, but her work has, yes, in the United States, that is correct, so A is correct. I didn't really read B, C, and D because A, I just made sure all of A was correct and I moved on. That was not a perfect prediction because I didn't predict it in the United States bit, and I had to go back and just double check that. But it was more or less, I got my match and I just had to finish off. I got my partial match and I had to finish off that one answer choice. The recovery of a 1,000-year-old Chinese shipwreck in the Java Sea near present-day Indonesia has yielded a treasure trove of artifacts. Chinese shipwreck, Java Sea, Indonesia. Okay, good. Artifacts, and then we have a tool, and then we're detecting the chemical compositions without damaging, and we were pinpointing which kiln they came from. Okay, that's cool. Main idea of the text is that Liza Niziolek was able to pinpoint the kilns that were the source of the artifacts from this ruin. Researchers have been able to pinpoint the location. Nope. Origin of bowls. Okay. That is correct. C is definitely correct, but I'm just going to double check A and D just because this one feels a little bit sketchier. No. No. Okay, yeah, it's C. Hang on. Why do I feel weird? With the help of a special tool, we got the tool. We determined the likely origin of bowls. Let me just make sure it's bowls. Yes. It has a single origin. Okay, no, likely origins. I guess I wish it said origins with an S. And I guess that's what was making me a little awkward about it. Recover from a shipwreck. But everything else is correct, and A, B, and D are wrong. So, yeah, okay. I see why C was making me uncomfortable. It's because it wasn't plural. It was kind of messing me up. Okay, as College Board, being a little sloppy with the plurals right now. Claim, underline sentence. Let's go. Mango Street, lasting impact. Okay, novella. Okay, got it. Mexican American impacted other authors, later authors, and then okay, culture, but also character. Culture and character were both influential, and this is the impact. Okay, impact. Oh, this is not a part function question. Obviously, this is a evidence question. Okay, so we need to support this claim. Post-Cisnero Latina authors examine youth experiences. Got it. Post-Cisnero. So we need to find a compare. Oh, that's a little broad. Oh, yes, there we go. Yes, this is it. Here we go. Monthly hours, sunshine. We lose sunshine in July, August, and September, which makes sense because I guess it's summer. It's turning into winter soon, and then Anchorage and Fairbanks. But Fairbanks actually becomes has more of a dramatic. I guess Fairbanks is further north. Similar pattern, yeah. They both drop from. They both peak at June, and then they both drop in September. I'm looking for June and September. This 200 thing, okay, that's correct though. April to June, yeah, that's correct, above 200, and then less than 200 hours from July to September, incorrect. Hold steady. What the heck? Okay, this is annoying. April to June. Okay, and then decrease from June to September. Oh my God, that's exactly what I predicted. I just didn't see it. Oh my God. Okay. Well, sometimes that happens. I wonder how much time I spent on that one. Probably like a minute and 20 seconds or something like that. Maybe 30. Probably not the worst. It wasn't terrible. This took me a long time to find what I was looking for. Swahili speakers, 3 African countries, estimated population. Kenya and Tanzania are 100% Swahili. Congo is 25. It isn't even their first language, second, third, or fourth. Okay, got it. So even in countries where almost everyone speaks, that's Kenya and Tanzania, and we just need evidence from the table. What the? Evidence from the table? I can't even predict that. There's no evidence from the table for this. First language of 15 million people. Got it. All right. 15 million people. So, right. Kenya and Tanzania both have more than 15 million. Okay, so Tanzania. Correct. Okay. I didn't really look at B, C, and D because it just took me a while to make that prediction. But once I got that prediction, I had to look at A for help for that prediction, and then I fixed my thoughts, and then I was sure that it was A. To create the poems in her 2017 collection, she used a writing method called the golden shovel. Okay, never heard of this actually. Chooses a line from existing poem. Each word from that line as the last word. Each word from that line as a last word. Okay, got it. Oh, I see. Oh, I didn't know the name of this technique. Wanted the poems in one last word to honor important black poets of the past, so she chose lines by perfect, challenging, awkward, beautiful, powerful. Reaction suggests that challenging formal structures, such as the golden shovel, doesn't have to be awkward. Well, I guess so. What's her goal? To honor. Tribute, honor, and that one's pretty straightforward. Yeah, that's correct. Pretty easy. That was a very easy inference question. You just need to see the tribute and the honor synonyms together. So let's go into grammar now, grammar time. Again, if you have questions about anything that I'm doing, very specific questions about what I'm doing, just ask them in real time. I'll notice it, and then it'll help me remember your question when I come back to it later during Q&A. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to conventional standard English? Oh, sorry, I don't know why I read that. Here we go. Scientists explain that the secret was the blend. Got it. In the 2011 documentary, recounts how his barbershop served as a hub. Led by Syrian American, these are a team to study these things. When such an eclipse is imminent, pack up their telescopes and get ready. Present tense. Okay, Riz designed the costumes and sets for the Miami City of the Nutcracker. Sounds like a sentence. According to reviewers, helped infuse correct. 2 different sentences. Pope was a Tewa leader from OK Owenga. He was instrumental in organizing the Popular Revolt of 1680. And as a result, 2 independent clauses. Got it. All right. In Gothic architecture, flying buttresses are large arches. The ceilings were supported by these short, short walls. As a result, higher, thinner, higher. Yep. Exactly my prediction there. I promise you I wasn't looking at the answer choices when I made that prediction. It's just the first word that comes to mind. Female loggerhead sea turtles will swim back to the sandy beaches where they were will swim back to the sandy beaches where they were born to lay eggs of their own. Okay. First, they'll dig their nest, and then second, and then finally next, and then finally got it. All right. Santiago Ramon y Cajal observed have boundaries with endpoints, which goes against earlier assumptions. Previously they had assumed that it was continuous, not distinct. Got it. Previously. Exactly. Perfect prediction. Following notes, Sasanian Empire, 400 years, lots of square miles, Iran, Iraq, Ctesiphon, near Baghdad. Location is near Baghdad. Okay. Art World, biennial, 2 years. New York, Berlin, Venice. Yeah, very famous. Unconventional Mexicali. Different venues, both sides. Okay, it's not a single venue. Uneven schedule. Okay. Difference. One difference. Well, there's 2 differences. The first difference is the. Ahmed, good to see you. Thank you. Ahmed. So yeah, 2 differences is the irregularity of the schedule and the location. The irregularity of the location. And this is actually, it says 1 difference, emphasize a difference, but this is 2 differences, and it can't be more right than this, but it's kind of annoying. This question was written in a way where it doesn't grammatically match up. So I'm just going to check A, C, and D, just because it's a little sloppily written. A is not right. C is not right. The focus is off. D is, not right. Doesn't emphasize the difference. It should say the student wants to emphasize differences, or contrast or something. Man, that's kind of annoying. All right, whatever, it's fine. I'm just being nitpicky. But this level of nitpickiness is something you actually want to have when you're taking the test, guys. I know it might seem counterproductive because being nitpicky might sound like it'll slow you down, but especially if you're above 700 and you're trying to aim like closer to an 800, or even if you're just if you're above 650 really, that's when you need to learn to like actually be nitpicky. Anyway, annoying, but whatever. Hauser. Artist. Sculptures featuring Native American figures. Got it. Abstract modernist forms. Influential. Sacred Rain Arrow. It was even on the Oklahoma license plate. Distinctive style. We're trying to. This distinctive style is abstract modernist. So I'm just looking for that. There we go. It is B. Okay, so that's module 1. I have 10 minutes left. I think I have less time than usual because I'm just talking so much. I don't usually talk this much, but it's the PSAT. It's okay. Not only is the digital SAT just relatively really easy compared to the previous SATs, but now it's the PSAT, which is the even easier version of the digital SAT. You know, it's like I don't know if you guys know, but at least among educators, like specifically like literacy and literature educators, including professors, they're all about 2 weeks ago. There was a article that came out in the Atlantic, which is a publication that was talking about the elite college students who go to like Columbia University, among other universities, the Ivy League schools. The elite college students who cannot read a book is the title of the article, and I don't blame the College Board only for this. I think it's a whole nationwide delusion about educational standards. But dude, we really are dropping our educational standards. It's really bad. It's really bad. If the U.S. didn't already basically own significant chunks of the world infrastructure and like supply chains and software infrastructure, dude, I don't know how Americans would compete. The education is just so. Then again, you always have geniuses in America. All the geniuses go to America. So America is just this crazy cowboy land where if you're just smart enough, you'll reap extremely large rewards. So I don't want to get too reflective about this, but all I'm saying the whole reason I began this little rant or ramble rather is I was thinking about how easy this freaking test is. It's so easy. Shouldn't be this easy. The SAT should be harder, but it is what it is. Here's what I'll say. In the second module, I'll probably try to talk a little bit less, okay? Because it's just a little. It's just draining to talk so much. So I'm gonna shut my mouth a little bit and focus more on just solving, okay, and less explaining. I think that should still be equally valuable for you guys. But if you have questions, you can just ask. Okay. It looks like no one has questions for this Q&A, like in between modules Q&A sessions. So I'll just move on. But I will quickly respond to Yan Lin. 650, 600. You're cooked. Okay. I mean, I hope you're not just wasting the practice tests. If you're just sort of if all of your study is the practice tests themselves, then you're probably not studying you're probably not studying very well. You should save the practice tests, like space them out, and use them as a measure of your growth. But actually, the growth shouldn't happen from the practice tests alone. The growth should be happening from other materials that you're using to study in between the practice tests. Does that make sense? You should use the practice tests as your test to measure yourself. So just keep that in mind. Don't just burn through all of them without actually going back and reviewing and learning what your weakness is. Like, if you made a couple like independent clause mistakes, punctuation mistakes for independent clauses or whatever, then like learn that, like fix it, and then take practice test 5. Don't just go straight into the practice test 5. Would be my quick response to Yan Lin. Even though I don't fully understand, there's many reasons why your score would drop, but that's potentially just one reason. You're maybe not utilizing the practice resources that you have at your disposal. College Board just added 300 new reading and writing questions. Where? Where's that? Okay. Wait. Well, how come my screenshot? How come my shortcuts aren't working? There we go. RSAT new Huh. Question bank. New questions in question bank. 12 hours ago. Okay, well, thank you for the tip. I didn't know this. This is actually really awesome because I was actually looking for, yeah, this is becoming a problem. Okay, makes sense. Uh, 20. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I'll have to. This is great because I actually was just about to start rebuilding my database. So, awesome. Uh, my shortcuts are totally broken right now. Can't. I can't switch screens. Okay, gonna manually do this. Give me a sec. All right. So yeah, more video content on the way, I guess. And my USB cable is. I bought some cheap one, and it's terrible at doing its job. Okay. It's amazing how crap cables can be, of all things, right? Like it's like such a basic technology. You know what I mean? Anyway. All right. So that is module 1. I'm gonna be a little bit quieter during module 2. I'm just gonna solve them. Let's go. Let's finish this baby. Here we go. I'm choking on myself. Brief book review. Full extent. Full range. The fullness, the massiveness, the complexity. Page numbers that count backward. Hilarious. Sounds insane. But she was unable to speak it? Yeah. She was inexperienced with speaking it. Capability. Video cameras were capabilities, this amazing access, this newfound access. Perfect. My prediction wasn't correct, but I saw newfound and I knew it was right away. The Guiro. Taino. Stick, scrape, ridge. Highly distinctive, I guess? Differ? Yeah. Highly variable, distinctive, yep. Microbes. Thrive in harsh, extremely cold, didn't seem to contain any life. We would have expected them there, but that doesn't prove there's no microbes. Maybe their sample just sucked. Microbes are found virtually everywhere. It's unlikely. Okay, so we agree. Okay, maybe it was in the sample, but our technology is lacking. Okay, so that was different from my prediction. How challenging. Okay, yeah. Challenging. So they completely agree with each other, by the way. The author of text 2 and Fierre would agree that it's hard to live in the Antarctic. Most, I don't like this word most. I feel like on the LSAT that would be a problem, but I'm gravitating towards D because I think it's the right answer, but now I have to double check A, B, and C. Even though I think D might technically be logically not correct. Yeah, has to be D. A, B, and C are all wrong. Most are unable to withstand. This whole most thing is only. It's like we have to. That's like an inference that we don't have directly from the text, so it's bothering me a little bit. Some animal behavior studies. Wild and captured. Advantages. Wild is normal, but uncontrolled. One or both of the studies must have failed to account for some factor that was relevant. Okay. Main idea is that these two have various advantages. So any failure, any contradiction is due to some mechanical error. Okay, maybe C. Yeah, D is definitely not the main idea. I'm just reading A because I skipped it the first time. Yeah, it's definitely C. Okay, moving on. Main idea again. Jerry Lynn Johnson. Black Pearl. I conduct. Experience conducting. Oh, that's cool. Main idea. The Black Pearl Chamber Orchestra does this stuff and then does this really cool thing. Okay. Listen to, yes, and participate in, yes, that is correct. Just double check, yeah. I just quickly checked A, B, and D. Characteristics of the banks of Provo River downstream. Downstream of the Jordanelle. Okay, Provo downstream of Jordanelle. I don't see any obvious trends other than grass cover kept going up and forest cover kept going down over the years. Benefited grass plants, but that's exactly what I was thinking about. Perfect. Grass just kept. Nope. Hang on. Increased. There we go. 18. Decreased. Yes. Exactly what I was looking for. That was my prediction. 1967. Corporation. NPR, U.S. News and Cultural Programming, CPR, NPR, inspired by BBC, 20s, got it. Which quotation would support the claim of the student, which is that it was inspired by the BBC? We just need to have an establishment of an inspiration between those two. C. Congress's embrace of reflected a conflict. Nope. B. For many decades, BBC had no competition. Nope. A. What? D. And U.S. There we go. The goal of the BBC was to support and U.S. believed that insurance could do the same. I see. Could do the same. Ooh, that was a little bit roundabout. I was not expecting that much of a roundabout answer, but that does establish the inspiration. It could do the same is the part that's the inspiration. Which choice most effectively uses data from the table? All right, I just read that out loud because I'm on autopilot right now and brain's kind of half switched off. Let's keep going. 5 of the responses to a survey about actions to conserve energy. So, most people turn off lights and use bike or public transportation. Very few people change their products. Okay. Curtailment or an efficiency. Okay. I see. Curtailment are actions that you can take, and yeah, they had higher ratings. While only 3.6 said light bulbs. Only 3.6 said light bulbs. Yep. Perfect prediction. Moving on. I'm not even going to look at ABC. Rivers rich in sediment appear yellow. I've seen this before. While increases in red. Okay, sediment equals yellow. Algae equals red. Sediment or algae. Satellite data. Visible wavelengths, okay. 495 and below equals red. 495, 560, and I'm skipping the blue, and I'm looking at 560 and above is yellow. So 560 and above is sediment. So high numbers are sediment. So flowing into the lake is yellow, and flowing out is less yellow. Less yellow, okay. Flowing into is more yellow, and flowing out is less yellow. What's the conclusion? The conclusion is flowing into is more yellow. So yellow is the 560 and above. Flowing into has more 560 and above. In lakes, there is past tend to be above the shores. Flowing into had above 560. Yes, perfect. Exactly my prediction. Although, to be fair, I did see that question before. Okay, New Caledonian crows, 2 different kinds of stick tools. One is complex, a hook. The other is basic, no hook. Removing prey. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome, actually. It's like me. I'm using my little hook to remove my prey, my answers from these passages, whereas you guys just sort of poke the passage, and then you're hoping that you get the right answer. They found that the hooked tools, they hold it in their claws when not using, or they put them in a safe place. They treat it valuably. That's awesome. This suggests to Clump that the birds know that it's more valuable. Yeah. Hey. Wow. I didn't even. It's my first time seeing this question. It's exactly what I was thinking. I'm gonna look at B, C, and D though, just to be careful. Yeah. A is exactly it. Indus River Valley Civilization. 3,000, okay. We haven't deciphered it or identified it, okay. Even though we have the examples. Customs and communities. Findings, which findings? Oh, even though we don't know the language, it seems like they are very sophisticated, I guess. Is that the idea? What the heck? Oh, yeah, B. Even though we don't know the language, we can still know about the civilization. That's pretty similar to my prediction. It wasn't exactly what I was thinking. I really don't need to check A, C, and D right now. I'm very confident on this one, but I'll just do it just to be careful, because sometimes I end up making stupid mistakes. Yeah. A is ridiculous. C is nope. D is nope. Yeah. 14. Bryologist. Adaptable. They can clone themselves, comma, enter dormant state, comma, and grow. List of 3. Praise song for the day. Asserts. To see what's on the other side. Use of we establishes, evokes our efforts. The use evokes. It's true that technological change is linear. New and better ones. However, even so, reminds us, okay. Nevertheless, even so, a pioneer in the field of taphonomy. Comma, Oh, name. We need a name. Okay, got it. Anna Berensmeyer. Perfect. Photosynthesis into nutrients, comma, is fueled in part by this thing. Got it. Author Madeline Engel, comma, looking to create a suspenseful tone, begins her novel. Correct. With the descriptions of two things. Got it. Modifier in between. Farouk Elbaz was part of the team that selected the sites. Good. Yes. In 2018, the works of this person were featured. Okay. No comma because it's just there's no you don't want a single comma between the subject and the verb. That subject is just a very long subject. To explore how transition. Yeah, transition. I'm trying to zoom in. There we go. Blinking affects social interactions. Observed human and listeners, speakers and listeners, quote unquote listeners. Listeners blink slowly. They talk for less time. Hang on. Blink slow. Longer talking. In contrast, on the other hand, by contrast, there we go. Perfect. Most of the planets that have been discovered outside our solar system orbit G-type stars. Okay. G-type, Sun is G-type. Got it. In 2014, B-type star, however, on surprisingly or however, yep. I don't know why I even double checked the other ones. That was exactly that was a perfect prediction. You know what I mean? I don't know why I didn't need to double check the other ones when I already had my perfect prediction. In 2009, the Craft and Folk Art Museum in Los Angeles hosted a special exhibition. Hey, I'm zoning out. Let me try that again. We have an exhibition. Got it. Of Dora Delarios, one person. Okay, multiple works. Dreams in Spanish and Japanese. Got it. Cultural influences of Spain and Japan. In other words, we're just restating the previous idea. In other words, therefore, I don't like therefore. That's so stupid. You shouldn't say therefore, but okay, it's the only one. Oh no, specifically, I'm being stupid. God, I'm glad that I. Whoa. But that's still kind of stupid because of the Spanish. Okay, I don't. All right, I got it. Fine, it is specifically, but it was just. I don't think that was very well written. Okay, I'm not gonna fully blame myself there. Stunks. Okay, that's gonna take longer. I'll come back to that after the module. While researching a topic, why is this Zoom so hard? Okay, while researching a topic, a student has taken the following notes. Single spot, radiant, visible from the northern hemisphere in July and August. Radiant is located within the constellation Perseus. The origin of the Perseid meteor shower's name is from its radiant, which is in Perseus. Oh, I skipped A for some reason. Okay, there we go. Easy. Lake, 10 acres. Wisconsin doesn't have size. 15,000 lakes. Okay. We're going to make a generalization, I bet. No, we're not. Okay, no. We're just doing a generalization would have been a lot better. Anyway, contrast. So the definition is one does take size into account. Minnesota's is more restrictive. Yes, that is correct. Difference between, wait, I feel like I might have read that question too fast. Yeah, we're contrasting the definition. Perfect, exactly. wants to emphasize a different. I'll just read this first. Tetras, 2 populations. Okay. Surface dwellers and cave dwellers. Ooh, some of them C. Cave dwellers are asymmetrical. Navigating in darkness. Creeps. It's like you guys being asymmetrical and only focusing on the answer choices. Navigating in the darkness. You cave dwelling freaks. All right. A difference between surface dwelling and cave dwelling. Oh yeah, duh. The difference is the darkness, seeing, and sensory receptors. Surface can see. Yep. I mean, that's correct, right? Yeah. That's the difference. I didn't check A, B, and C because D can't be wrong. It would be insane for D to be wrong. So I'm moving on. I don't need to double check, so I'll just finish it off here. And then before I do Q&A, I'm going to just do my score prediction and my reveal. So today I'm definitely more awake than I was in my previous 2 streams in the last week. So I do feel better and more confident. That said, something still feels a little bit janky. Maybe just not streaming a lot recently has led me to kind of like lose track of how much, like the optimal like blend of explaining what I'm thinking versus just solving. Because sometimes when I'm talking, it kind of interrupts my own thought process, right? So I think there's a bit of that happening where it's making me a little bit, I don't know about overwhelmed, but slightly distractible, I guess is the word. So I do have a bit of that going on, but that I don't think that's an excuse. I don't feel like I made any mistakes. I felt like I was cautious enough to double check things whenever my spidey sense told me that I may have, like there might be a word there, or sometimes even a single letter there that's bothering me, like the singular or the plural when there's an S or when there's not an S. Sometimes that bothers me, right? So I just went back and double checked. That does not mean that I did process elimination for every question. I did not do process elimination for very many questions. I just, there are many questions where I didn't look at all 4 answer choices. I only looked at 2 of them or 1 of them even. But being careful doesn't, but people assume that being careful means doing process elimination. No, it doesn't mean doing process elimination all the time. That's a very black and white way of approaching the test. Your propensity for process elimination should be directly correlated, or inversely correlated rather, with your confidence. The more confident you are in your answer choice, the less you should be relying on process elimination. Yeah, why is it that you're just doing process elimination all the time? It's ridiculous. And the way to improve that confidence is not by getting better at process elimination, which is just circular now. The way to improve your confidence is to actually do the reading. A lot of you guys read way faster than I do, quote unquote read way faster than I do. You guys actually read in like 15 seconds or 20 seconds, whereas I'm reading in like 40 seconds. If you're not sure, if you don't believe what I'm saying, just go and measure it. Like literally go and measure yourself solving one of these questions for the first time, and then measure it against how much time I spent reading it for the first time. You'll be surprised that I'm actually reading slower than you. It's just that I skip a lot of the process elimination. So you can, as long as you're improving that reading, you can improve your confidence. Once you improve your confidence, you can move on, and so you don't have to be quote unquote careful by doing the stupid sort of insensate black and white, I have to do process elimination on every single question, that kind of like overkill strategy. You don't have to do that. And look at me, I had like 10 minutes left each time, right? So that's just my comments on my strategy, and I guess my prediction, my prediction is 54 out of 54. I don't feel like I got anything wrong. Let's go and see what I got. I'm gonna briefly hide my screen while I log in. And then after this, I'll do Q&A. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into chat right now. Assuming I didn't get anything wrong, here we go. I should have a 720 if I got a perfect score. This is the SAT. I'm going down to PSAT. Where's PSAT? Load, please. 720. Perfect. Let me make sure I didn't get... Sometimes you can get a perfect score even though you got something wrong. So let me just double check that I got nothing wrong. I got 0 incorrect. 54 out of 54. Perfect score. Good job, Saul. All right. Bro, I am Bangladeshi. Congratulations, sir. I think what you're trying to say is that you don't have the ability to read. Is that what you're saying? But you do have the ability to listen to everything I just said. I mean, it depends on what your score is, man. Like, just because you're Bangladeshi doesn't mean you can't get a perfect score. But you gotta start. You gotta have you can't just use that as your excuse. Like, you have to have a specific target first of all, and then and then if you want me to be able to help you, then you should also explain what your current status is. Like, what were your most recent test scores, and like what are you struggling with, right? You could just there's probably plenty of Bangladeshi kids who have gotten perfect scores, so you probably want to you can do it, man. How did I get an 800 from DSAT practice? On the DSAT practice, I mean, just do what I did, right? I talked about it just earlier, Void, but I was saying that I do, I read the passage, I sort of hook my answers out of the passage without even looking at the answer choices. I use that metaphor because that was kind of like a little inside joke to myself. But I make my prediction, and then I match my prediction. I rarely use process elimination. I didn't really count the number of times I did process elimination, but I feel like out of 54 questions, I probably did process elimination less than 10 times, even though I was being extra cautious today. So that's just how I do it. Now, if you have a more specific question about something that you're struggling with, then maybe I could help you. How to start learning DSAT for beginners? I would say right now you probably should start with a PSAT. So there's a total of 10 practice tests. Let me go to Bluebook, right? There's actually a total of 10 practice tests that you can use, okay? There's PSAT 8-9, 1 and 2. And then there's PSAT 10, 1 and 2. That's 4 so far. Now, just be aware about the scoring caps, okay? A PSAT 8-9 is aimed at 8th graders and 9th graders. So PSAT 8-9, the top score you can get is a 720 because to simplify how this works, I'll just say that let's say on the SAT, on the real SAT, there's like 54 questions, and some of those questions are 800 level, some of them are 790 level, some of them are 780 level, 770 level, 760 level, 750 level, 740 level, 730 level, and 720 level, right? All of the questions that are 730 level or above are removed from the PSAT 8-9. Does that make sense? So if you get a 710 on the PSAT 8-9, that converts to a 710 on the SAT. It does not convert to 730. It does not convert to 750. It converts to 710. There is no conversion is what I'm saying, okay? Which means you take the PSAT 8-9 and you get a 720 twice in a row. That means you're already above 720 level, okay? The PSAT 10 is capped at 760 because they don't give you 770, 780, 790, and 800 level questions on the PSAT 10. So if you're acing the PSAT 10, then you're already above 760 level, okay? But if you're scoring below 720 or below 760 on the PSATs, then that means you still have extra work to do. If that is the case, you need to do the extra work before just moving willy-nilly onto the next set of questions, because you don't want to waste these questions. These are the best questions you can get. Okay, be careful. Like, don't just spend all of these questions in the next week. That would be a massive waste of time, especially and resources, especially if you don't like learn the concepts, especially in grammar. If you're not learning, if you're not doing basic learning in between the practice tests, huge waste of your resources. Okay, so I strongly recommend using these PSATs, especially if you're a beginner. Start with the PSAT 8-9. Space them out. Maybe take the first PSAT 8-9, the one that I just did. Maybe take that in the next week just to get a measure of your score. And then schedule your next PSAT 8-9 maybe 2 weeks later or 1 month later, depends on how much studying you're going to do. And then do a bunch of studying through Khan Academy and through other resources that are, you guys can recommend each other some resources here. Do a bunch of studying in between, and then measure yourself again with the PSAT 8-9, and then if you're getting closer to like 720, then go ahead and graduate to the PSAT 10. Go through the 2 PSAT 10 questions in like fashion. Again, space them out. Don't just smash them all into one week. And then you move on to the SAT practice tests. There are 6 of them. I'll just show it to you right now. There's 6 of them right here. SAT practice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And then there's the essays, which I've never seen before, but whatever. So you space those out as well, and use these to measure yourself as you're going along, okay? And the studying that you do in between should not be purely just review of the Bluebook. That's not studying. That's just reviewing this one practice test. The studying should be focused on your weaknesses. Like, what are you bad at? Like, go and learn it, right? Learn how to put sentences together. Learn the various usages of like the colon and the semicolon and whatnot, right? Learn these things, and then also learn to actually just read the passages. Like, actually read the passages, especially if you're doing review of a practice test. When you're doing the review of a practice test, try to pretend that you have to predict the answer and don't even look at the answer choices. Just slowly read the passage and then read the question and then make your own predictions. Doing this will honestly cut down the need for a tutor so much. If you can just do this on your own, you really don't. You may still need a tutor at some point, but let's say that, because sometimes it's hard for you to get a perspective on what your actual weaknesses are and whatnot, but you can drastically reduce the need for a tutor by doing all this on your own. Void says max was 580, can't get higher, struggling in vocab and reading. Teach you. I mean, I'm not sure if you're asking for tutoring, but if you are asking for tutoring, my rate is $100 US dollars an hour, and you can just message me. You can email me. My email is, hang on, where are we? My email is in the description down here, so you can just you can email me there. But be aware that this is the rate as of October 31st, 2024. My rates may change over time. So if anybody's watching this video in 2026, just saying. And if you're not asking me for tutoring, I mean, you could just follow the program the study plan that I just shared with you. Again, use the Bluebook tests as a way to measure your progress, and then study using Khan Academy and other resources. There's a bunch of resources that people talk about on Reddit, and use those resources to study in between. And again, I think I've already talked about my strategy multiple times, so if you have more specific questions about my strategy and how to get better at my strategy, then please ask that specific question. Keshev is saying that college boards making reading questions more and more challenging. That's correct. With more black and white answer choices, I don't think that's correct. I think it's always been relatively black and white. It's just that it doesn't feel black and white. You know what that is, Keshev? That's you just learning. Because you're better at reading now and you're better at the test now, it just looks more black and white to you, but it actually isn't becoming more black and white. If anything, I've seen some of the questions from I'll just say I've seen some questions. No comment. I've seen some questions where I felt like they were actually a little bit vague with some of the answer choices, but I'm hoping they were experimental questions, that they were not like scored official questions, because some of them it's like maybe one or two that I saw that were kind of like sketchy. But if any of you are in the same position where you've been studying the SAT for a while and like the new questions seem more black and white, that's actually congratulations. It means you've gotten smarter. It means you're better at this now. Keshiv, this seems to make it harder to predict the correct answers. Oh, that's a good question. I would say yes, you should always try to predict it, okay? Because predicting is never going to be bad for you, all right? It's just that you just need to know what to do when your predictions aren't good. Like, even me, honestly, when I'm taking the PSAT, I'm sort of flexing on the PSAT. It's a little too easy for me, but like, even me on the SAT, or especially the paper SAT before the digital SAT, I would make these predictions and I would not even be confident in my prediction, right? I would just have a rough sense of a prediction, like what I think could be the right answer, but I'd be sort of open-ended about it because I wasn't sure. Like, that happens all the time, and that's not going to stop happening. That's going to happen every day. If you go to a good university and you have professors that hold you to a high standard and expect you to read the texts of the most intelligent people in the world, present and past, then you're going to be reading some really difficult fucking texts. And prediction is not something you only do on tests. You are literally predicting every paragraph when you're reading a passage, when you're reading a text, when you're reading like Marx, when you're reading, dense, like when you're reading just dense, I don't know, just anybody. There's so many people, right? But when you're reading anything that's sort of dense, like, you're always sort of making predictions about what this author's actually saying, and you're doing it all the time anyway. So you might as well just keep practicing that skill. If you eventually end up taking a reading writing test for like your master's program, like a GMAT or GRE or LSAT or whatever, this ability to actually predict, you will only get better at reading if you're forcing yourself to predict on the SAT questions, and you will only be helping yourself on future challenges. Does that make sense? So yes, keep predicting. Just have a way of dealing with situations when your prediction isn't perfect. And you know what the way of dealing with the situation is when your predictions aren't perfect? It's process elimination. Okay, I'm not against process elimination, by the way. It might seem like I'm against process elimination, but it's just that I think it's ridiculously overused is all it is. I think it has its time and place. You use process elimination when you have a very low confidence prediction and you look at A and B and C and D and you don't find a match, right? You don't know which one of them is the right answer. You took a quick skim, nothing matched your original thought. So now you have to kind of let the test guide your thinking about the reading a little bit. You look at A, you look at B, you look at C, you look at D, and you're confirming whether A is fully correct, or B is fully correct, or C is fully correct, or D is fully correct. And that's process elimination. You do that, right? That's what you should do when you don't have a prediction. And the better you get at reading, the less you have to do process elimination. And that's just another metric of your progress. So you should still do it. You just have to rely on your secondary weapon. And when you rely on your secondary weapon, then you should still be able to make it through that question. If you can't make it through that question, just guess, move on, come back to it later, because maybe that question is beyond your level. Maybe you're scoring 730, and that question is really aimed at 780 students. Then just drop it, move on, okay? So that's how I would approach that. Void Rift is saying Mastered Khan Academy doubts 580, 480. Oof. Yeah, that's actually, then you're going to definitely need more practice than just Khan Academy. And you actually might be, Void Rift, you might need, you might just, first of all, need just more grammar to start with things, and more transition questions, just some real basic stuff. the standard English conventions, logical transitions, and then eventually you start going into overall structure and word and context questions. Those are the ones that will kind of develop your habit of reading. But none of my advice is going to matter if you're not going to use my strategy. Like, if you're not going to use my strategy, then my advice is not right for you. But if you are going to use my strategy of like reading the passage, breaking into parts, identifying the transitions, making a prediction, right? Trying to match the prediction, trying to get a perfect match and moving on, right? If you're not going to use that strategy, then then just go on Reddit and ask other people about how to study. But if you are going to use my strategy, then I strongly recommend. First, you need more practice materials than just the Khan Academy and Bluebook. And you said that you mastered Khan Academy, but you're still at 580. You did not master Khan Academy. You really did not. Okay, let's just get rid of that illusion. You are not mastering Khan Academy. You might have finished it, but that doesn't mean you mastered it. So I would say right now, you just need more practice materials. Focus on the question types that I just talked about. But whenever you have a reading, like a little paragraph that you have to read and you don't fully understand it, in the real test during timed conditions, right, you will not have enough time to fully read it and understand what's happening. Okay? So let's say when you are doing a practice test, you look at question 9 or something, and you read the passage and you're like, holy crap, I don't know what this is saying. Then you look at A, B, C, D, and then you eliminate B and D. So you're stuck between A and C. And then you choose C, and then after the test, you double check the answer key, and on question 9, you got C correct. You're like, good job. What should you do at this point? It was not a good job. You have to be honest with yourself. It was not a good job. You got lucky, right? You didn't know if C was even the right answer. You just got lucky. You chose C by luck. Does that make sense? Now, it might not be 100% luck. You might have known for sure that B and D were wrong or whatever, right? And you might have had the right reasoning or whatever. But none of that is confirmed, right? If you got any question right, but you didn't understand the passage, I want you to go back to it. I want you to go back, regardless of whether you got it right or wrong. If you didn't understand the passage, I want you to go back to the passage, cover the answer choices, cover the question even, and just read the passage over and over and use a dictionary and learn what the hell the passage is saying. I would actually, if you're at the 580 level, I would not emphasize the hardest passages. I would only emphasize the passages that you were close to getting the right answer and close to having the right understanding of, right? The hardest passages are really hard to understand if you're a 580 student. So I would actually not focus on them, okay? But the questions that are kind of like medium difficulty and like maybe even medium high difficulty, those are the ones where you actually need to go back and reread that passage and make sure you understand everything that's happening in that passage. Like, can you describe the transitions in that passage? Like, it starts with a claim, then it goes into a reason, and then it goes into a counterclaim, and then it undermines that counterclaim or whatever, right? Can you describe those transitions? If you can't, then you didn't really understand that passage, okay? And if without doing this, if you're not going to do this work, this hard work of actually breaking down passages, then you are never going to be able to predict the way I do, or even like similar to the way that I do. Obviously, I don't expect all of my students and all of my viewers to predict at the same level as me. It depends on your goal. Your goal may not be to be at this level, but if you wanna make those predictions, then you need to actually go back and reread those passages. Yes, so go back, use that time, use the dictionary, even use ChatGPT, not on the answers, not on the questions, okay? Not on the questions and answers, on the passage itself. Use ChatGPT to help you understand what the passage is saying, okay? Stunks. Process elimination. Yeah. It means, well, it could be one of two things. It could be you do know how to read, but you're just underestimating your reading ability. and you just heard in 7th grade and 8th grade and 9th grade that you're supposed to do process elimination all the time, and so you're just sort of in a automaton mode where you just, well, everybody's doing it, so I guess I have to do it, right? And so it could just be force of habit, right? You may already know how to read, but you were sort of brainwashed into doing process elimination all the time, and so you're actually handicapping yourself, right? So if that's you, you know what'll happen? The moment that you switch your strategy to my strategy, you'll see a jump. You know, your score will jump from like 630 to like 700, or 630 to like 680 or something. It'll jump really quickly. And the reason it's jumping quickly is not because you got that much smarter. It's because that the strategy that you were using was completely undercutting your own reading ability. Okay? Now, but there's the alternative scenario, and in this scenario, Stunks, what you're saying is correct. Yeah, maybe you are only doing process elimination all the time because you are just unable to understand the passage. Okay, and there's two ways around this. The first way around it is the common wisdom. Common wisdom is to not read. Don't read. You're not going to improve your reading. So why bother reading? Just read the first sentence, read the last sentence, and then do these stupid like statistical guesses. Like look at A, B, C, D, look for synonyms, look for antonyms, blah blah blah. Okay, if you're not going to improve your reading, sure, you can. That's the first way of getting around your inability to read. Just procrastinate on reading, right? That's the common wisdom, but. I think that's cowardly, and I think that's actually shooting yourself in the foot for your future. I mean, like let's even say that you're like a super rich kid, right? And your dad, it doesn't matter how bad you fuck up in school, like your dad's just gonna get you a job, no matter how terrible of a student you are. I mean, if you have any self-respect, dude, like, don't you want to understand what people are saying to you? Like, you know what I mean? Don't you want to understand the decisions you're going to have to make as an adult? Right? Like, just read. Like, it'll improve you. Like, you don't have to be a world beater, right? You don't have to be like some sort of like literary genius, right? You just have to be pretty good, right? To like, as a super rich kid, you don't need to be the smartest person, but like if you have a golden spoon, you don't have to be the smartest, but you want to have a base level of self-respect. Just read, dude. Improve your reading. You know what I mean? And then let me talk to the other 99.9% of people here who don't have that kind of opportunity. Dude, you guys don't even like your math may carry you in your career, but like, guys, if you can just read, you're gonna be so much more, like, if you're working at a company or if you're working in a nonprofit or wherever you're working, if you're working for yourself even, just being able to read will accelerate your learning, would improve your ability, will earn you more respect when you're actually making presentations about your ideas and, you know, all of these things. Like, it's because you just understand things better, right? So I strongly recommend getting off of that nonsense TikTok train of tips and tricks, all the nonsense like book tips and tricks about that are basically telling you that it's okay not to read. I actually strongly go the exact opposite way. Read. Okay? Solve it first, right? Solve it first to the best of your ability, but then go back and read. And then the goal of that reading is to be able to make a better prediction. So you should cover the answer choices and be like, I just read this. You look at the question only, and you should be like, what should the answer be? And you should try to confirm that in your head. And then you look at the ABCD, you look at the answer choices, and you try to match it. And you can, and I'm telling you, the College Board, their answer choices are the correct answers, almost correct, almost always 100% predictable. They are, because they're logical, they're reasonable. Okay? The College Board is not written by a bunch of dummies. They are written by very smart people. It's very hard to write a question like this. So believe in the test, believe in the process, trust the process is what I'm trying to say. Trust the process, believe in the test, and actually make your predictions. Improve your ability to make predictions. Your score jumped, but oh no, I mean, it's okay to do process elimination. I've been saying this multiple times. Guys, predict and match is my primary. Cross-elimination is my secondary. Okay? It's just, if you ever play a video game, a shooter, right? You always have like, I don't know, the big fat weapon, like the flamethrower or whatever. And then, or like, the sniper, you just headshot. But sometimes you can't headshot, right? Sometimes you read the passage, you read the question stem, you make a prediction, A, B, C, D, and you miss, and you don't see your answer. Okay, then take out your secondary, bang, 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 A, D, A. A is like 3 lines, right? So you have to like make sure you have to double check every word. Bang, 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 bang. Look at B, bang, 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 bang. C, bang, 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 bang. D, bang, 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 bang. And wait until you might have to just shoot it 20 times with your secondary. That's okay. Takes a lot of time. Process elimination takes a lot of time, right? If you've seen me in my stream, my predict and match takes like 5 seconds sometimes, right? So fast because I know exactly what my answer is. Right? I don't have to read A, B, C, and D. I just find the one that matches my thinking, right? But sometimes your thinking is wrong, so just use process elimination in those situations. Just try to, but if you're somebody who's already trying to get 1600, now it's just a matter of like, how many times are you really doing process elimination? Maybe you're doing it 15 times, and you're trying to reduce it now to like 11 times or 9 times or something like that. So maybe you should annotate. Maybe you should write a marking down every time you do process elimination, and just start counting the number of times that you're doing it to force yourself to become aware, because this is a very good metric for measuring your progress. The number of times you're doing process elimination, the better you are at reading and predicting, the less frequently you will have to do the process elimination. Stunk's November SAT is coming up in 3 days. So hey everybody, if you are taking the November SAT in 3 days, good luck. Void Rift is saying writing's not that bad, 1 or 2 mistakes. Writing, reading, and vocab. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Void. Again, I'm just gonna have to keep repeating myself because your question is not really about a specific problem. It's about just the general area, and I've been talking about it. Predict, read and predict. You saw how I did the vocabulary questions, right? You saw how I did the quote-unquote vocabulary questions. They're not usually vocabulary. Your errors are not vocabulary errors, I guarantee you. If on quote-unquote vocabulary questions, which are actually word and context questions, you're on the word and context questions. If I bet if I forced you to reveal the last 10 word and context questions you got wrong, and I bet if I covered the answer choices A, B, C, D, like with my hand, right? I like physically covered it so you couldn't see the answer choices. I bet out of those 10 answer choices, out of those 10 questions, I bet you would be able to predict the correct answer 8 out of 10 times, maybe 7 out. Actually, you are. I forgot what score level you are right now. You said you were 580, right? Yeah. I bet if you're 580, I would say maybe more like, you should be able to predict 6 out of 10 of them. Okay. You would be able to predict the correct answer 6 out of 10 times, and out of those 6 out of 10 times, only 1 out of those 6 times would you not be able to choose the correct answer because of your lack of vocabulary. Because 1 out of 6 of them, you'll have a situation where you just literally do not know the definition of B and D, so you can't eliminate one of them. So you're stuck on 50-50. Dude, everyone totally overestimates, like ridiculously overestimates, how much their vocabulary is harming them. So I go and do this exercise on your own, okay? Predict the answers. Do I read poems? Yes, I do for fun. Do they help me to understand a passage? Yes. How do I talk about this? But there's a certain type of poem that the College Board goes for. So here, for this, I'll actually, oh my God, my My keyboard shortcuts are not working. Give me a sec. Okay. So, for example, you should not, honestly, it's not modern poetry that tends to be helpful for improving reading comprehension. It's more um, like 17th, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s poetry. The reason is that, especially before the 20th century, most poets were being pretty flexible with their syntax, but they were obeying grammatical rules. Okay? Just choose some random. John Donne is the first one that comes to mind. So I'll just choose some random poem by John Donne. Okay. I'm just choosing, like, literally just the first one that came out here. Okay? But John Donne is a little bit funky sometimes, so maybe he's not the best example, but whatever. It comes first one that comes to mind. Let me pour forth my tears before your face while I stay here, for thy face coins them. Now, this actually can, this really can improve your grammar and your understanding of sentences, because now you're actually being forced to be like them. What is them? Them is tears. Your face coins my tears, right? Your face coins my tears. Well, what does coins mean? Well, here in poetry.com, foundation.org, they actually tell you what coining means, right? It like turns it into a coin. So your face is like stamping, is like stamped on my tears or something. I don't know, something like that. Oh, it literally says stamp right here. And they bear, my tears bear your stamp. My tears bear your stamp. They carry your mark. Well, this is actually grammatically perfect. There is nothing wrong grammatically in this structure. And by this mintage, they are something worth. They are worth something. But what is the weird thing about older poetry? This is probably written like late 1700s, right? I forget. Maybe early 1800s. The weird thing about poetry is that they sometimes invert sentence order, right? Where they will, like in modern English, this clause would be, and they are worth something by this mintage. And they are worth something by this mintage. But here it says, and by this mintage, they are something worth. And they're doing this because they're trying to rhyme. Pour forth and something worth. But if you are able to actually match all the pronouns and stuff, right? If you are able to match all the pronouns while you're doing this, like that would actually make you really good at English, right? This is not as hard as as some of the Shakespeare dramas. Like late Shakespeare dramas are really hard to understand, but even Shakespeare, you can actually grammatically parse them and logically figure out what the syntax is, and then you can. Sometimes the vocabulary is just way out there, so you're gonna need some of these like footnotes. Okay. By the way, when you're reading this, it's actually good to turn off the footnotes. How do you turn this off? But there you go. But like, yeah, sometimes you're just gonna need the footnotes. But if you can actually break down the grammatical structure of the sentence, you can literally understand this on your own. Okay? And so the question is, do I read poetry? Yeah, I do. That's because I enjoy poetry. That's a separate, it has nothing to do with the SAT. Do they help me to better understand a passage? Yes, they do. But it's kind of beyond that point now, because my reading is already as sophisticated or as like kind of developed as it probably. I mean, it could develop more, I guess. But if anything, I'm old enough that I feel like my brain cells are actually dying, mostly due to like brain rot from like YouTube. So I feel like if anything, my reading ability is on the decline, right? But it already peaked. So, but I'm already past the peak. Like this stuff grammatically is not that hard for me, right? So does it help me in the present? No. But did it help me in the past? I guess so. But did I study for the SAT by reading poetry? I mean, kinda. I just never really studied for the SAT. I just I just studied for school and I studied for my interest. And because I studied for school and I studied for my interest, I got good at reading. And because I got good at reading, I didn't have to use these stupid techniques that other people were talking about. I could just predict and match. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Do I recommend students to read poetry? Maybe. If you have the motivation, I think it's actually, I think poetry, I don't generally recommend it to most people because I feel like most kids are overwhelmed by it. But if you have the eagerness and you have the ambition, you have the confidence, you have the courage even to take on poetry, then I recommend trying older poems and finding an older poet that you can vibe with to start. There are funnier poets. There are more serious philosophical poets. There's more romantic, kind of idealistic, kind of like beauty is but fleeting kind of poets. There's more adventurous poets who like live very wild lives. They go fight in wars and have multiple affairs and have multiple children. Like, you know, there's like all types of poets. So just find a poet that you vibe with. I think that's the hard part. But once you find a poet that you vibe with and it's written in grammatically strict older language, then that will definitely improve your reading a lot. Even when you find a 9 out of 10 confidence match, yeah. Keshav, I think the main thing there is, did you fully defend your answer choice? And you've actually you in this very stream I did this, okay? Sometimes I looked at my answer choice. I remember there was one time where this happened in today's stream. I wanted to move on, but then something kind of bothered me, so I just double checked every single word in my answer choice. And when I read all of my answer choice, I was like, every single one of these words I can defend. I moved on to the next question without looking at the other answer choices. Without, like, let's say it was C, I moved on without looking at A, B, and D, okay? So how do you get the balls? You don't just get the balls by just like praying to God to give you balls. You actually get the balls from just confirming your own answer choice, right? So make sure to defend that. Make sure that you can actually defend every word in that answer choice. And if you can, go ahead and try moving on and see what happens. See if the world falls apart. See if there's like a sort of gaping chasm that opens in the sky, and then this jagged hand comes out of the sky and grabs you and then sucks you into the void. Okay, see what happens. Okay, if you can fully defend that answer choice, just try hitting next. Okay, I promise you the world will not fall apart at that moment. Or if it does, then, well, we're shit out of luck anyway. Okay, because it's not just happening to you, it's happening to everyone else. Okay, so just try it, and once you confirm to yourself that it's actually okay, then you're gonna develop that confidence naturally over time. All right, so that's it for me. Thank you for all the questions. We had a lot of good questions today, so I'm glad that you had a bunch of people just joining for the stream. I'm probably gonna do the other PSAT 8-9 tomorrow. So if you have November SAT related concerns, you can actually ask questions at the end of that stream as well. If it's not tomorrow, I should probably do it tomorrow. I should do it tomorrow. Yeah. Am I gonna go out tonight? It is October 31st. It is Halloween, and a bunch of my friends are saying come out. I kind of feel like lazy. But if I go out, will I be responsible? And if I'm not responsible, will I still do a stream? I don't know. I'll think about it. But I would try. I would try to do a stream tomorrow. I'm not going to commit right now, but I will try. All right. If you have further questions, though, you can always ask in the Discord server, which is, you can find the link to the Discord server down here. And if this video has been helpful for you, please hit that like button. Let the YouTube algorithm know that this video is actually quite useful, and help me out a little bit and help your fellow stressed out seniors and juniors, peers in the world out as well. If you'd like similar If you'd like to see similar videos in the future, please consider subscribing to my channel. And as a member, like Ahmed earlier, you will also have access to members-only live streams where I just do like weekly chats. Office hours is what I'm thinking of calling them now, where you can just come to my office, quote-unquote office, and just ask me any questions you have about English, about SAT, about college applications, about anything. So to become a member of my channel, you have to hit the join button, and you cannot do this if you are on an iPhone, okay? You have to be on a computer or on a Windows or on an Android. All right, I'll see you in the next stream. Until then, keep on learning, keep on growing. Peace.